So we started studying World War One, and we looked at it through technology. And it's important to think about the fighting of World War One through technology because it's a series of technologies that enabled this war to be fought differently than other wars. It's also the first world war fought post-industrialization of global economies. So it starts with the Maxim machine gun. This allows a lot of lead to be put down field to the target to engage the enemy more so than ever before. It also allows the way the gun system is designed, a small group, maybe of 3 or 4 people, to service the gun, keep it loaded, and engage the targets. So now you're talking about small squads of machine guns holding off thousands and thousands of troops. They also had very big guns, big artillery. We had artillery, in the 19th century, of course, but the 20th century artillery is huge. It's not the most accurate, but that's where the shock and awe factor that we talked about today comes into play. So what do we do when we have machine guns and big guns? We need to get cover. So that leads to trench warfare. It's the third major item on this list. In trench warfare, we're digging trenches to be able to move and advance without um, losing our protection from machine guns. Once again, technology, one technological innovation, such as digging trenches, which were quite elaborate. We're going to see an illustration in the next slide. One technology led to another. Okay, mustard gas. Mustard gas is going to get people out of the trenches. Okay, it's horrific stuff. Eats away at the flesh, and basically makes it so that the person gassed with this stuff cannot continue to fight in the organized way that armies need to work to win. Okay, so that's a lot of syllables to say the fact that the enemy is causing major chaos when mustard gas is used. So to combat that, we have gas mask technology that helps overcome, alleviate some of the issues. I mean, you still wanted to get out of that gassed area, but at least now we can do it more organized. We can move troops and still communicate. Um, this is all terrible. The trench warfare is horrible. Let's throw barbed wire in there. Now people are gassed. They're running out, and when the gas clears, they're stuck in barbed wire, and they're going to get cut down by the machine guns. So this is just a terrible, terrible deal. This is one of the reasons why planes and tanks are used to overcome the horrific conditions of that troops are experiencing on the ground. They take to the air to gain more accuracy with bombs, but to also get away from what's happening on the ground with the gas and the machine guns. And they drive right over the barbed wire, right through the machine gun fire, and from one over trench after trench with tracked machines called tanks. So here's an illustration. It's a little bit fuzzy. There's a lot of illustrations online if you want to look for other ones, but it's just showing you what a typical trench network might look like. It's going to have barracks. It's going to have headquarters, offices. It's going to have places to communicate. So the communication trench in the middle is connecting one line to another. At the upper left, you see where it says no man's land. There's a bunch of burnt and broken trees, probably from artillery shells bursting, but really there's no ground covered by either side in that area. That's where the other enemy is going to have to um, use that land to advance, to move the line forward, or not. And so notice that there's puddles of water. The puddles of water, this is just showing you how wet this was. It's important to remember that the conditions were very wet, which is significant because of the trench foot issues. Trench foot, people lost their feet are rotting off their legs, and a lot of that has to do with their inability to keep their feet dry and keep their feet cared for. Okay. Again, this is an image of the mustard gas and a typical gas mask of a World War I GI. So World War I in general, we're not going to get too much into the causes of the war and militarism and imperialism, but we will in nationalism. That's going to be in your world history class. But we are going to talk about U.S. involvement. To talk about U.S. involvement, we have to kind of lay the groundwork. What's basically happening in World War I is there is a stalemate. No one's winning. No side is advancing one way or the other, and that's one of the reasons why the United States is eventually brought in. But they're not brought in easily. I mean, Woodrow Wilson is getting reelected, um, on the platform that he kept the United States out of the war. This is significant, especially considering at the time he was already making preparations to get ready to go to war. So, the Allies versus the Central Powers is the basic standoff here. The Allies are Britain, France, Italy, Russia. Those are the big ones. And the Central Powers, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Germany, and the Ottoman Empire. Now, really, it's about alliances. And I'm going to just bring that up because we've talked about alliances a little bit. It's just an agreement to help other countries. Austro-Hungarian Empire was attacked by the Serbs. The Serbs are allied with Russia, so Russia attacks, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire calls on Germany to help because they're allies. Germany ends up invading Belgium, which is an ally of Britain, and Britain gets involved because of this old treaty that they had with Belgium. So Germany's heading towards France once again here. That seems like what they like to do, and in the path there's Belgium. So Britain gets involved, and you see, it's all about alliances. It's all about one country being obligated because they have an agreement to help the other, and to not so much go to the rescue, but to just help fight the war, right? We're going to get into some of the issues with the U.S. and England in the next slides. Someone in class asked, why is Russia, one of the allies? They're not our friend. Well, I talked about how there's no good guy, bad guy deal. It's all about interests. So there's special interests in the world, and when it comes down to it, sometimes the enemy of my enemy is my friend because we have the same interest. The interest in this case was to keep Germany from winning, from invading and taking land and taking power in the region. So, Germany is mad about the blockade. Now, the blockade of German ports is being held by the British Navy, and this is hurting the economy for Germany, and it's also making it harder for them to fight the war. So Germany has U-boats, great submarines, the best submarines. So they're able to get around this. They take to the Atlantic Ocean, and they sink. They're fighting the Navy, but then they start sinking merchant ships, and in the case of the Lusitania, a passenger vessel. So Germany says, well, look, these ships are part of the war effort. We can sink them. But the rest of the world is saying, no, you cannot do it without warning. Germany's sinking them without warning. The U.S. is involved at that point because their passengers are dying, like in the case of the Lusitania sinking. And they also have business interests in Europe that are being strained because of this unrestricted submarine warfare. Okay, the Sussex Pledge was supposed to ask Germany that to stop sinking ships without warning, without the ability to get to redirect or change course. Germany says, fine, we can do that, but you have to. England has to lift the blockade of German ports. The U.S. is not going to get on board with that because they, like England, know that Germany will gain too much power and win the war and probably take over much of the region. So it's not a great trade-off for these Atlantic powers, the U.S. and England. So they say no to that. This is a typical U-boat, a submarine. And you have to remember that this is major technology for the day. This is a cartoon. We're going to look at some other cartoons. And in this cartoon, the larger figure is Germany. And notice the hooves. He's meant to symbolize the devil or a demon, the horns and the hooves. And it's talking to Mexico, offering some money, offering to help them reclaim their land in southwestern United States. And so this comes through with the Zimmerman telegram, a telegram intercepted by British intelligence and shared with the United States. And it just talks about it's between Germany and Mexico. And Germany is asking Mexico for help. You help us, we'll help you. So this U.S. involvement it's about technology. It really is a technology type of war. It's about technology and how that helps us fight the war, but then also how technology is critical in moving the economy. Okay, and the U.S. is trying to stay out as long as possible until they really just can't. They can't. Their merchant ships are being sunk. There's no way Germany's going to agree to stop the unrestricted submarine warfare. And now they receive word through the Zimmerman telegram that Mexico might ally with Germany. So really, it's a war about technology and alliances.